You're running from pain, and it's destroying you. You scroll when you should sit with discomfort. You binge when you should process what you're feeling. You stay busy when you should be still. You consume entertainment, substances, shopping, work, anything that keeps you from facing what's actually happening inside you. And you tell yourself this is survival. This is coping. This is how you get through the day without breaking. But here's what you won't admit. The numbing isn't working. The pain is still there. You've just buried it under layers of distraction. And every layer you add makes you weaker, more fragile, more desperate. Because pain doesn't disappear when you avoid it. It compounds. It grows. It mutates into anxiety, depression, addiction, rage. Into a heaviness you carry everywhere but can never name. Into a void you try to fill with everything except the one thing that would actually heal you, facing it. You think you're protecting yourself. You're not. You're slowly suffocating under the weight of unfelt feelings, unprocessed trauma, unacknowledged grief. And the worst part? You know this. You know the numbing is killing you, but facing the pain feels impossible. So you keep running, keep numbing, keep pretending tomorrow will be different. It won't be, not until you stop. 2,000 years ago, the Stoics faced pain that would shatter most modern people. Marcus Aurelius lost 8 children and ruled during plague and war. Seneca was exiled, stripped of everything, and eventually executed. Epictetus was enslaved and physically broken. They had every reason to numb, every excuse to escape, every justification to avoid reality. But they didn't. They faced it, not because they were superhuman, because they knew something you've forgotten. Pain faced transforms you. Pain avoided destroys you. Today, you're going to learn the 7 brutal Stoic laws that will teach you how to stop numbing your pain and face reality like a warrior, not by pretending it doesn't hurt, but by using the hurt to forge something unbreakable. These aren't comforting lies. These are hard truths, and hard truths are what you need right now. Watch until the end. The law you skip might be the one keeping you enslaved to avoidance. Let's face what you've been running from. First law. Numbing doesn't eliminate pain, it just delays it. With interest. You think if you avoid the pain long enough, it will fade. That time heals all wounds. That eventually you'll feel better without ever having to feel worse first. And sometimes that's true. For surface wounds, for minor disappointments, for small hurts. But real pain, the deep kind, the kind you're numbing right now, that doesn't fade, that accumulates. Every day you avoid it, you're not healing, you're compounding. Seneca wrote, "A man who suffers before it is necessary, suffers more than is necessary." You're suffering in advance by dreading the pain. Then you're suffering through avoidance by numbing it. Then you'll suffer when it finally erupts because you can't hold it down anymore. 3 layers of suffering, when facing it once would have ended it. Here's what's actually happening. Pain is information. Your body and mind are trying to tell you something. Something is wrong. Something needs to change. Something needs to be processed. But you're ignoring the signal. You're numbing the messenger. And the message doesn't go away just because you stop listening. Think of pain like a debt. You can ignore the bills. You can distract yourself from the notices. You can numb yourself to the anxiety of owing, but the debt doesn't disappear, it grows with interest, and eventually it bankrupts you. The grief you're avoiding by staying busy, it's waiting. The anger you're suppressing with substances, it's building. The shame you're escaping through consumption, it's spreading. And when it finally breaks through, and it won't be the original pain anymore. It'll be years of accumulated, compounded, mutated pain. And that's what destroys people. Marcus Aurelius faced loss constantly. Children dying, friends betraying him, empire crumbling. And he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He didn't numb the pain of loss. He used it, he let it teach him impermanence, compassion, resilience. Here's the law. You can pay the pain now in full by facing it, or you can pay it later with crushing interest when it explodes. Choose wisely, because you will pay. The only question is when and how much. Second law, avoidance teaches your brain that you can't handle reality. Stop training weakness. Every time you numb, you're sending your brain a message. This feeling is too much for me. I can't handle it. I need to escape. And your brain believes you. So the next time pain appears, your tolerance is even lower. Your need to numb is even stronger. You're training yourself to be fragile, and fragility compounds just like pain does. Epictetus was a slave. He was beaten, tortured, his leg was broken deliberately. He had every reason to mentally escape, to dissociate, to numb himself to his reality. But he didn't. He faced it. He accepted it. He wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." His reaction? Acceptance. Not passive resignation, active acceptance. This is my reality. I can't change it, so I will endure it. And in enduring, I will become stronger than my circumstances. Here's what numbing does. It teaches your brain that pain is unbearable, that you're not capable of sitting with discomfort, that you need external things to regulate your internal state. And over time, your window of tolerance shrinks. Things that used to be manageable become crises. Normal discomfort becomes emergency, and you need more and more numbing just to function. You've trained yourself into learned helplessness, and learned helplessness is a prison. The practice, when pain appears, emotional pain, not physical injury, you sit with it for 5 minutes before reaching for the numbing agent. Just 5 minutes. You feel it. You breathe through it. You observe it without trying to change it. Your brain will scream. It will demand escape. It will tell you this is unbearable. Sit anyway, because what you'll discover is this. It is bearable. Uncomfortable? Yes. Painful? Absolutely. But bearable. You can survive 5 minutes of feeling without collapsing, and when you survive it, you've just retrained your brain. You've taught it, I can handle this. I don't need to escape. I'm stronger than I thought. And that message, repeated, builds genuine resilience. Stop training weakness. Start training endurance. The only way out is through. Third law. Pain is the entrance fee to growth. Refuse to pay, refuse to grow. You want to grow. You want to be stronger, wiser, more resilient. You want transformation, but you also want to avoid pain. And that's impossible, because pain is how growth happens. You don't build muscle by avoiding weight. You don't build courage by avoiding fear. You don't build wisdom by avoiding difficulty. Growth requires resistance, and resistance hurts. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." But you're avoiding the difficulties. You're numbing yourself through the labor, so your mind stays weak, not because you're incapable, because you're refusing the training. Here's the truth about every person you admire. They hurt more than you. They faced more pain. They endured more difficulty, and they didn't numb through it. They grew through it. That's the difference between them and you. Not talent, not luck, pain tolerance. Marcus Aurelius became a great emperor not despite his suffering, but because of it. He lost children. That pain taught him compassion for other grieving parents. He faced betrayal. That pain taught him wisdom about human nature. He endured war. That pain taught him courage under pressure. If he'd numbed through those experiences, he would have learned nothing. He would have just been a traumatized emperor medicating his way through life. Instead, he faced the pain, processed it, and extracted wisdom from it. The practice. When something painful happens, instead of immediately reaching for your numbing mechanism, you ask, what is this pain trying to teach me? Not, how do I make this stop, but what can I learn here? Loss teaches you about impermanence and gratitude. Failure teaches you about resilience and humility. Rejection teaches you about self-worth and boundaries. Loneliness teaches you about self-sufficiency and connection, but only if you face it, only if you sit with it long enough to hear what it's saying. If you numb immediately, the lesson is lost. The growth never happens, and you stay the same person, just more medicated. Pain is the entrance fee to becoming who you're meant to be. You can refuse to pay, but then you also refuse to grow, and refusing to grow is choosing to die slowly. Fourth law, reality doesn't negotiate. Face it, or it will break you. You think if you avoid reality long enough, it will change. That if you numb yourself to your financial problems, they'll somehow resolve. That if you distract yourself from your failing relationship, it'll magically improve. That if you medicate your anxiety, the underlying issues will disappear. Reality doesn't work that way. Reality doesn't negotiate. Reality doesn't care about your feelings. Reality exists whether you acknowledge it or not, and unacknowledged reality eventually forces you to acknowledge it, usually catastrophically. The Stoics called this living in accordance with nature. Not trees and mountains, the nature of reality, the way things actually are, not how you wish they were. Marcus Aurelius wrote, objective judgment now at this very moment, unselfish action now at this very moment, willing acceptance now at this very moment of all external events. That's all you need. Objective judgment means seeing reality clearly, not numbing yourself to it, not distorting it with wishful thinking, seeing it. Here's what happens when you numb instead of face. The debt grows. The relationship deteriorates further. The health issue worsens. The addiction deepens. The problem that could have been solved with discomfort now requires catastrophe to resolve. You're trading temporary comfort for eventual destruction and calling it coping. Epictetus taught, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. You say you want to be strong, but strength is tested by facing reality, not avoiding it. You say you want to be wise, but wisdom comes from seeing clearly, not numbing yourself blind. The practice. 1 hour per week, you sit down with 0 distractions and you ask yourself, what reality am I avoiding right now? Then you write the answer, honestly, brutally, no sugarcoating, no rationalizing. I'm avoiding the reality that my relationship is failing. I'm avoiding the reality that my job is making me miserable. I'm avoiding the reality that I'm drinking too much. I'm avoiding the reality that I'm deeply lonely. Whatever it is, you write it. Then you ask, what would facing this reality require me to do? And you write that too. Have the hard conversation. Make the scary change. Get help. Set the boundary. You don't have to do it immediately, but you have to acknowledge it, because acknowledgement breaks the spell of avoidance. Once you see reality clearly, numbing becomes harder. And that's good. That's progress. Reality doesn't negotiate. It doesn't bend to your avoidance. Face it now while you still have options, or face it later when it's chosen the timing for you. Fifth law, temporary escape creates permanent prison. The scroll feels good. The drink numbs. The binge distracts. The purchase excites. The substance quiets. For an hour, maybe 2. Then the pain returns. Exactly as strong as before, often stronger. And now you need more numbing just to get the same relief. You're not healing, you're creating dependency. And dependency is a prison. Seneca warned about this exact trap. He wrote, slavery resides under marble and gold. You think the problem is external oppression, but true slavery is internal dependency. When you can't function without your numbing mechanism, you're enslaved to it. Can't face anxiety without scrolling. Enslaved to your phone. Can't process emotions without drinking. Enslaved to alcohol. Can't sit with boredom without consuming. Enslaved to entertainment. Can't handle stress without shopping. Enslaved to spending. The temporary escape feels like freedom. It's not. It's the bars of a cage you're building around yourself. And every time you numb, you add another bar. Here's what's happening neurologically. Your brain adapts. The numbing mechanism that used to work for 2 hours now works for 30 minutes. The substance that used to take the edge off now barely registers. So you increase frequency, increase dosage, increase desperation, and the pain you're avoiding, still there, untouched, waiting. Marcus Aurelius had access to every pleasure the Roman Empire could offer. Wine, entertainment, luxury, distraction. He could have numbed himself through his entire reign. Instead, he chose discipline. He wrote, "The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are." Look things in the face, not through the blur of numbing, in the face. Clearly, honestly, that's how you stay free. The practice: identify your primary numbing mechanism, the thing you reach for when pain appears. Then create friction, not complete removal. Friction. If it's your phone, delete the apps you use to numb. If it's substances, don't keep them easily accessible. If it's shopping, remove your payment info from sites. If it's food, don't stock the numbing foods. You're not banning the behavior. You're adding a pause between impulse and action. A pause where you can ask, am I numbing or am I genuinely choosing this? Sometimes you'll still numb, but not automatically, not unconsciously. And that awareness is the beginning of freedom. Temporary escape creates permanent prison. Build friction, reclaim choice, break free. Sixth law: feeling the pain fully is faster than numbing it partially. Choose speed. You think numbing saves time, that avoiding the pain lets you keep functioning. Keep working, keep going, and maybe in the very short term, that's true. But long term, numbing takes infinitely longer than feeling, because pain that's felt completely is pain that can be released. Pain that's numbed partially lingers forever. Think about grief. You can numb it for years, decades even. Stay busy, stay distracted, never fully feel the loss. And 20 years later, something small triggers you, and the grief is still there, fresh, raw, because you never actually processed it. Or you can feel it fully, for weeks, maybe months. Sit with the grief. Let it move through you. Let yourself break. Let yourself cry. Let yourself rage. And when it's done moving through you, and it will finish if you let it, it's gone. Not completely. Grief echoes, but the acute pain, released. Seneca lost his son. He wrote to a friend about grief. What is hardest to bear is the thought that we must bear it. The anticipation of pain is worse than the pain itself. The resistance to feeling is harder than the feeling. Here's the practice. The next time pain appears, real emotional pain, not just discomfort, you set a timer for 20 minutes. And for those 20 minutes, you feel it completely. No numbing, no distraction, no escape. You sit, you breathe. You let the pain wash over you. You cry if you need to. You scream into a pillow if you need to. You shake if your body needs to discharge. You don't resist. You don't analyze. You just feel. 20 minutes of full feeling will process more pain than 20 days of partial numbing. Because when you feel it fully, your nervous system can complete the cycle. The pain arrives. You feel it. It peaks. It passes. Cycle complete. But when you numb, the cycle never completes. The pain arrives. You numb. The feeling gets stuck halfway. The cycle interrupts. And stuck pain is chronic pain. Marcus Aurelius wrote, You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. But the things you can control, your response to pain, feel it fully, process it completely, release it faster, choose speed, feel it fully, move through it. Don't drag it out for years through partial numbing. Seventh law, warriors feel everything. Cowards numb everything. You think numbing is strength. It's not. It's cowardice dressed as coping. Real strength is feeling the pain and acting anyway. Cowardice is avoiding the pain by refusing to feel. Warriors don't numb. They feel fear and charge anyway. They feel grief and continue anyway. They feel pain and endure anyway. Feeling doesn't stop them, it fuels them. Epictetus taught soldiers and generals, men going into battle, men who would see death. And he didn't teach them to numb themselves. He taught them to accept reality while maintaining virtue. Feel the fear, act with courage, feel the pain, act with discipline. He wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The reaction isn't numb yourself so you don't feel it. The reaction is feel it and choose your action anyway." Marcus Aurelius led armies. He felt the weight of every decision, every soldier's death, every family's grief. He could have numbed himself to it, become cold, detached, emotionally dead. Some leaders do. He didn't. He felt it, and he still led. The feeling didn't weaken him. It humanized him. Here's the truth. You're numbing because you think feeling will break you. It won't. What breaks people isn't feeling too much. It's carrying unfelt pain for so long that it crushes them from the inside. Feeling makes you human. Numbing makes you hollow. And hollow people break easier than feeling people, because hollow people have no resilience, no depth, no substance, just empty space where emotions should have been processed. The practice. The next time you face something difficult, a hard conversation, a scary decision, a painful truth, you commit to feeling everything that comes up. Before, during, after, no numbing. You feel the anxiety before the conversation. You feel the discomfort during it. You feel the relief or grief after it. You ride the entire wave, and you discover, I can feel all of this and survive. I can feel all of this and still act. I can feel all of this and be okay. That discovery is what transforms you from someone who needs numbing to survive into someone who feels fully and thrives anyway. Warriors feel everything. They just don't let feelings dictate actions. That's the difference. That's the strength. Stop numbing. Start feeling. Become the warrior you're supposed to be. Here's what happens when you stop numbing and start facing. You pay the pain now instead of compounding it for later. You train your brain that you can handle reality. You extract growth from every difficulty. You face reality before it forces you to. You build freedom instead of dependency. You process pain faster by feeling it fully. And you become a warrior who feels everything and acts anyway. This is how you stop numbing and start winning. Not by avoiding pain, by using it, by letting it forge you into something stronger. Marcus Aurelius felt everything and led an empire. Seneca felt everything and wrote philosophy that changed history. Epictetus felt everything and taught kings while living as a former slave. They didn't numb, they felt. And feeling made them unstoppable. You're not weak for feeling pain. You're weak for running from it, and you're done running. The pain you've been avoiding is waiting, not to destroy you, to free you, to teach you, to forge you. Face it, feel it, use it, win. Drop in the comments. I face my pain, I do not run from it. Subscribe for more brutal Stoic laws to face reality and win. Make it count.